So you want to have this thriving business. You are excited for the new year because you're like, I'm going to be serious this year. I want my business to thrive. This is my year and all of these things. But I want you to make sure that your calling is sure. And what I mean by that is, are you really willing to do the work to show up consistently in strategic communications? Because to be honest, strategic communications is the bread and butter of your business. Without careful strategic communications and a bit of data analysis to amplify the top three performing campaigns and to see what's working with your positioning, you're going to find it difficult to make sales. So you need to choose one specific niche down, go hard on that niche. That doesn't mean that you're not going to serve other industries. That doesn't mean that you can't go to some of these events with other industries. But what this does mean is when people find your website, they find that your message is very secure in one specific industry. And FYI, just saying I'm a finance consultant alone is not a niche, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff that goes within finance. In finance, you have estate planning, you have bookkeeping, right? You have fractional support for budgeting. You have personal finance. You have tax relief. You have all of these different spheres. And so you're going to have to choose one specific niche, okay? Now, again, that doesn't mean that you only talk to this niche and you're only working with executive leadership consultants who need a CPA, right? One of my clients, she actually is a finance firm specifically for tax relief. And the way that she niches down and has niched down for the past 5 years in her business and has not shifted from niching is that she works mostly with real estate. Now, when we're writing out the emails, we're not excluding the fact that 1099s, truckers, logistics, some government contractors, and travel nurses can benefit from her services. But when we wrote the website copy, it was reflective of that 60% of the demographic she works with. Because you have to make it make sense. It's like, why would you serve, let's say you serve 55% of your demographic is leadership consultants and corporate, okay? And you know this is data that you know about your customer base. So why would you switch your niche and say, okay, well, I'm just going to do a complete overhaul and I'm going to be a generalist bookkeeper that doesn't serve these executive corporate women? That's going to be a problem because all of those people, especially since that's a huge bulk of your customer base, those 55 people that you could have kept continuing to amplify your message to and could have spoke directly to their emotions and what they're experiencing right now. Now, when those new people like that audience come across your brand, there's nothing that makes you stick out. And that's the worst space to be in 2025, when there's literally nothing that makes you stick out. Okay. So for example, two of my niches right now are working with finance, more specifically tax relief and CPAs. They can be bookkeepers as well, real estate. But I've also, in this group coaching container that I've opened, been working with healthcare firms. Why? Because I used to work in healthcare. I worked in Nationwide Children's Hospital. And then at the age of 16, I was going into this career center for healthcare. And so that's a part of my story and a part of my client base. But the bulk of my customer base over the last 8 years in business, about 59%, maybe closer to 65%, has been finance firms. So that's who I mostly market to, has been finance firms for a very long time. I remember my first social media marketing client was a credit repair firm. This was in 2018. Why? I don't know why I started attracting finance clients, but because that specific niche started to come to me naturally, then it only made sense. Okay, I'm going to niche down and only work with financial services providers, whether that's tax relief, whether that's bookkeeping CPAs, whether that's banks, because I've worked with a few banks as well out in San Francisco and San Diego. And then realtors. I've worked with realtors over the years frequently. And then I was talking about healthcare, because that's a natural segment that I just naturally understand and can speak to because it's a very complex area. And so especially anytime you're thinking about niching down and you're dealing with a complex industry like finance or healthcare, when there's a lot of different laws, a lot of compliance rules, regulations, and you have to speak to things in a very careful manner, that's even more of a reason to choose one specific niche, especially on your website. And it's going to be an issue if people, let's say you overcome your fear of emailing people more than 4 times a week. Okay, let's say you overcome that fear. You're ready. You're like, girl, I get it now. I'm gonna go ahead and send those emails. I'm gonna do it because I see what you're talking about. Now, this is gonna be an issue if people they're receiving your emails and you sat down and took a journalistic style approach to dissect your offer, dissect your experience, dissect your origin story, and then dissect the buyer's journey and what your audience is going through before and after working with you, while working with you, pulling these different stories and case studies from your own clients and testimonials. Now, this is going to be an issue if they go to click on your website and the language doesn't match. You ever read something on social media, then you go to somebody's website and you're like, ooh, this is just off. It's not cohesive. It feels like a switch. It feels like it's not the same person. You do not want that to happen. And so I'm telling you this because I really care about your business in 2025. I really care about the fact that you want to live an elevated lifestyle. I care about the fact that a lot of entrepreneurs right now are, hey, how can I pivot? What can I do right now to make 2025 my best year in business? You know, you need to overcome these mindsets, and it's literally just a mindset shift to say, okay. And even if you find it hard to justify it, I want you to look at successful entrepreneurs. One, I want you to look at how consistently they email you and post on social media. Like, there are certain people out there, I'm one of them. You will see me post at least 3 times a week on social media. You will see me email my list. You will see me on LinkedIn. You will see me in a lot of different places. You will see me publish content on my blog, because I understand that my level of discomfort does not help my business. Whether I feel like creating a blog or not, it's going to get written. Whether I feel like making a video or not, I'm going to make the video. Whatever I feel like or whatever discomfort I'm having does not help my business go forward. So I always come from the mindset of what does my business need, not what do I need. And that's part of servant leadership. And so if you're someone that leads a team, this comes easy for you. You're someone that's already 5 to 10, 15 years in business, this comes easy for you. And it's just about learning what's required in this market to understand, hey, this isn't really about you. Business isn't even about you. And when you're an excellent entrepreneur, you know that business is about your clients. Business is about your team and being a servant leader. And so when you can take that approach to everything that you're doing in your firm, then you have no choice but to succeed. And so repetition is necessary. Niching down is necessary. Choosing one specific industry, showing up daily is necessary. Because without you showing up and having conversations like this with your audience, how are they going to know your perspective? And you have to be willing to have a unique perspective, to have certain convictions in business. One of my convictions is I do not let AI write all of my email copy or all of my clients' copy. You can use it for research. Fantastic. That cuts down my research time. But when it comes to empathy-driven narrative arcs and telling stories that only humans can tell from your own human experience, especially if you have a complex offer, especially if you're selling a package over $5,000, ChatGPT can't write that. It's hard enough to even get a regular copywriter to just learn how to write that. But now you think a robot can write that better than a sophisticated marketing consultant, sophisticated strategist can write to your audience better than you? And if AI can write to your audience better than you as a CEO, that's a huge red flag, because you probably don't know enough about your audience, which is concerning. As a CEO, your main role is to drive revenue in your business. And then once you get super good at that, all my clients that work with me for longer than a year and have success know how to speak to their audience's pain points and how to communicate with them, so that when we work together, they're going through the 20-question framework. They already have a bit of a branding guide, even if it's not a full corporate branding guide. And even if I'm like, hey, let's change some stuff with the calls to actions, let's change some stuff with how we articulate this, at least they know the main problem that their audience has and how to write it in different ways. Every CEO has to be a writer. Every CEO, it's non-negotiable. Every CEO has to be a writer. Writing is the lifeline of your business. This is my conviction in business, because I see too many people out here over the past 8 years, 9 years, and I look at my business mentor, one of my favorite business mentors, and like me, she's an excellent writer. She just is. She doesn't market herself as a writer because she mostly writes for her own business. And then she has a marketing strategist on her team to assist with the duplication of those efforts, right? That's why you have fractional marketing operations support, the way that I do for my clients in magnetic emails. But you have to be a CEO that is not afraid to write. You have to be a CEO that has the mindset writing is one of the most important assets you can have for your firm. Because, and I'm going to go back before I end this video, I'm going to tell you a story about the advertising industry and the origin of sales pages. And so I geek out about this stuff. Y'all know I'm a marketing strategist. I love the history of advertising, okay? And so the way the sales pages started out was actually because, like, in the 1920s, they would have like business to business sales letters, let's say like a law firm and some other consultant, okay? And so this business advisor, if they want to work with the law firm, they may or may not just go to a networking event. They would actually, again, business to business. This is the history behind sales pages, website copy, and why we write copy in the way that we do. They would actually write out a whole sales letter, and it was on literal paper. They would type it out on like a typewriter. If it was way back in the late 1800s, in the 1920s, they would type it out, okay? And so it would say, "Dear so-and-so, I have this certain thing that I'm working on, and I'm thinking it could really benefit you." Leave curiosity, right? They're not even telling what the offer is. Now they get into the storytelling. I know you're struggling with X, Y, and Z, and this is why I believe this will help. So my approach to this is X, Y, and Z. And I recently had a client, and then I was looking at this in the industry, and I experienced this. And do you think you would be interested in so-and-so offer? If you would, it would do X, Y, and Z to change your life. You see how that formula is for sales copywriting? That's the history of advertising. And so I want CEOs everywhere to fall in love with the art of sales copywriting and fall in love with your specific industry, because when your passion, your consistency, and your frequency and your niche shine through, you are going to set yourself up for maximum profitability, more freedom, more time with your family, more resources to invest in your business, just more of everything that you want right now in life, but you want it for 2025. So go ahead and hit the link in bio to work with me. If you are watching this somewhere else, hit the link down below to get in touch, because I'd love to talk to you more about this so that we can audit your current messaging strategy, because this is going to make or break your business in 2025 and beyond. Talk soon.